It's a short story, which is an absolute perfect example of the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. And in the dating and relationship realm, it's absolutely no different. And our guy here breaks things up on the spot with his flight attendant girlfriend, who he has a long distance relationship with, when clearly she's cheating on him. And of course, she didn't like that too much. Title: I, a 34-year-old male, suddenly broke up with my ex-girlfriend, a 29-year-old female, in a long-distance relationship for suspected cheating. He says here, now he breaks this down as to the scenarios why he broke up with her, and of course her little temper tantrum when he does it. He says, well, number one, I broke up with her after a male colleague asked her out for late night drinks. She accepted without telling me one word about it. I only found out days later by asking specific questions, following some inconsistencies in her story. I asked a few more questions to understand if they were friends, but it turned out she barely knew this man. She casually met him one time, months ago, but they exchanged phone numbers, and he suddenly wanted to see her out of the blue for drinks, and she accepted right away, without disclosing any of this to me. Well, okay, she's a flight attendant. She's going around all over the place, meeting lots of people. Oh, late night drinks. No, you're not doing that if you're in a serious relationship, unless you don't care. Obviously, something's going on. Well, she claims that she didn't tell me because in the end, he canceled at the very last minute, and there was nothing I should worry about. I felt deceived, but sat down and told her I would appreciate if she would openly talk about ambiguous situations rather than me finding out by pure chance. Not great for trust, especially in a long-distance relationship. Yeah, well, smack, don't do long-distance relationships. Guys, they don't work out, okay? Date someone local and not a flight attendant. Flight attendants are right up there with teachers and nurses for being cheaters. Number two, I caught her in a lie about another guy, who she kept saying was just a friend, and she was not hanging out with him anymore. It turns out, after catching her in a few contradictions and pressing her a bit, she actually had you-know-what with the man a while ago before dating me, and that he was and still is a married man. She's hooking up with a married man. That's not exactly girlfriend material. He should have broken up with her before, let alone, especially after hearing this. She claims she didn't know he was married at the time, and she was ashamed of it, which is the reason why they don't hang out anymore. Yeah, I believe that. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. He also says I felt deceived again, since she kept lying to my face about this guy. However, I told her that the past is the past, and I also did plenty of things I regret. But it's not acceptable to straight lie to my face about it. Bro, by you accepting her lying and BS stories and stuff like that just tells her she can keep doing it. The trust kept going down, so at this point, I was keeping my eyes wide open. We had another talk about being honest, transparent, and how damaging it is for trust when catching contradictions in a long-distance relationship. She knows this. She doesn't care. At number three, listen to this. He says here, fast forward 2 months later, I found out that literally 2 days after the honesty and transparency conversation, she kept texting back and forth with the same man. Now she's been kept doing that she's been doing a bunch of financial favors for him at our expense. So this is the guy she hooked up with a while back before they were dating, as she claims. Didn't know they were married. He was married, but now she's still talking to the guy, even though he's married. And now she's doing financial favors for him. What other kind of favors is she doing? It's just BS one after the other with her. Well, she's a flight attendant, and one of her perks is she gets 10 free return flights per year that she can gift to friends and family. And she promised me all such tickets were mine to use, so that I could fly to her as much as possible in order to keep the long distance shorter without the financial burden of the tickets. As I was preparing to one flight back home, I found out that one of my future tickets was under the name of that so-called friend, the married man that she used to be friends with benefits with. When confronted, she told me he just asked for a favor, and she didn't see anything bad in accommodating his request. Yeah, sure, honey. She never even mentioned any interaction, texting, and calling, and with him, nor the fact that she sacrifices one of my tickets for such a shady character from her past. Mind that he's still married to the same woman he cheated on her with, who, like me before, is completely unaware of their past and present interactions. Well, don't worry, guys. He's now going to handle this right. At this point, the loss of trust was irreversible, and I broke up with her right on the spot as soon as I found out the texts and the favors. Good for you, man. You stayed with her way, way, way longer than you should, but better late than never. Now watch how this flight attendant, who I'm assuming is above average looks, and probably used to getting guys, reacts to this. She couldn't believe I would have the balls to break up with her just like that, and try to minimize that he was just a friend, and it was just a ticket, or it was just an emergency, and failed to give an explanation as to why she never said one single word about these interactions, especially after we agreed to be 100% transparent after ambiguous situations. No, you agreed. She didn't agree to it, or she agreed with her fingers crossed, because her legs certainly aren't crossed. Her legs are wide open for this dude and other dudes, and every other chatter Tyrone she meets on Delta Airlines or whatever, pilots and such. Yeah, of course she's going to blame this guy. She said she was so sorry, but at the same time that I was overreacting, so for me, that was more of a sorry I got caught rather than a mature and a sincere apology. For me, the trust is simply gone for good, and I knew right then and there that even though I really cared and saw a future together with this girl, I just couldn't let it go and let my guard down with this person anymore, and this incident would haunt me over forever, wondering what the hell she is lying about, hiding next time going forward, so I decided to let her go. Good. Good for you. Hey, you know what? He had to learn. He gave her umpteen chances. He shouldn't have given her any chances after the first fiasco. And that's how I teach a lesson about getting involved. The flight attendant. She's always on the go. Always meet other guys. Can't have trust, can't have a relationship. The kicker is she got super defensive and I haven't heard from her since. Then 1 month later, she texted me out of the blue asking me if I still believed I took the right decision. My answer was that she should have had the same question to herself. If she made the right decision lying, hiding, and entertaining ambiguous interactions. I know I made the rational and most logical choice, but this is a person I really cared about, and it can't help the lingering feeling sometimes to think that there's something I could have done better to save this. Smack! Save what? How are you going to save this relationship? Why were you in a long-distance relationship? There's no amount of saving or fixing somebody that is just devious and deceitful, and that's who she is. Get over it, dude. I'm, however, conflicted with the knowledge that there was no turning back and my trust was forever lost in this case. What's your take? On a side note, I'm not trying to get this guy's wife's contact information to let her know that her husband is a cheater, but the research is quite difficult so far. Yeah, if they had such a safe and honest friendship, then this guy telling the story here could reach out to the wife of that guy, his girl was cheating on, and hey, no problem. She needs to know. But anyhow, guys, perfect example. Don't do the long-distance relationships. For God's sakes, don't do them with a freaking nurse or flight attendant here. And where there's smoke, there's fire. Break up with them. Now, comment section's full of people commenting on this, agreeing with him. And he gives more information here, which I'll share. One guy says here, a long-distance relationship makes the relationship impossible. She's a compulsive liar and can't stop interacting with other men behind your back. Combined with her questionable moral code, this is a deal breaker. This must be driving you mad. Try and forget about her and move on. And he says, thanks. Yes, indeed, this whole situation has been on my mind a lot even after deciding to go for a clean break. I am just so disappointed and feel this vague feeling of, but you didn't catch her actually physically cheating, so she might just have been very, very naive. No, she was cheating. Come on. And even if she wasn't physically cheating, she was lying to this guy regularly. You can't have a relationship like that. Another guy says here, I've been here before. It's much worse than what she told you. Trust me. I can guarantee you she did way more than just that. It's rough out there for us guys nowadays. Don't take it personal, man. That's just the new norm. It's way too easy for them now to cheat, and a lot cannot resist the temptation. And he says here, I actually appreciate you being direct. This is exactly what I need. The moment I saw those tickets under his name, I had the same exact feeling that there's so much more to the story, and who knows how many other things she hid from me and would have hidden going forward. If you add to the fact that she's a flight attendant to the mix, then. So even he knows. He knows there's more going on. He got the trickle truth, bare freaking minimum. And last one, this is just his responding to something. This is from the guy who posted here about her and accountability. He says, thanks, my friend. Surprisingly enough, she showed zero accountability. Well, we're not surprised. She shamelessly replied, no, I ask you if you made the right choice, because you took and left me like that. You said you loved me. It was just a ticket for a friend and blah, blah, blah. To which I replied the voice note basically telling her that she had a lot to work on and leave me alone as I don't have time to waste. Good for him for saying that. I'm sure his now ex-flight attendant girlfriend, her ego was shattered because, again, she's 29. She's still in her 20s. She's, I'm assuming, above average looks, gets guys no problem. And for her to be broken up with a guy who she thought was probably beneath her, that destroyed her ego. To be very honest, emotionally it hurt me like crazy to do this. To this day, I'm still gut-wrenched about this story as I really cared about this person. But rationally, I know there was no other way to keep my dignity and sanity intact. Well, I like the fact that even though it was hard for him to do it, and he cared for her, or at least he cared for what he thought she was, he still got rid of her because logically he knew it was the right decision to make. So I respect guys even more that do that, even though it's difficult to do it, as opposed to guys who are like, fuck her, and get rid of her. That's easy. It's easy to get rid of somebody you don't care. But when you do care, and, but know that they're a piece of shit, and you're going to overcome your emotions and do what makes the most sense logically, that's the real hero here. So good for him. Took a little too long, but better late than never. Hope he learns.